What is going on, everyone? I want to talk about the Sixers. Just a couple different little topics all joined together. And one thing that crossed my mind when I was doing my radio show over the weekend is the comparisons between Brett Brown and Doug Pederson. I know that sounds crazy, but there are some comparisons between the two. Let's talk about before Doug Pederson won the Super Bowl, right? And I know that that's a huge difference between the two, but just hear me out. Before a championship was ever won, this fan base, let's not act like this fan base all believed in Doug Pederson. Let's not sit here and try and say that we all sat there and said, Doug Pederson's the man, he's going to bring us to the promised land. We sat there after the hire and said, who? We sat there after the first season and saw 7-9 and said, what? We didn't sit there and say, wow, Doug Pederson, he's the best. He's going to bring us to the promised land. Who is this guy? What's his game plan? He's too aggressive. Why are we doing this? Until he won the championship, but then, of course, now we all fall in love with him, which is a huge game changer. But just think about that. Prior to the championship, this fan base wasn't all in on the guy. Also, Doug Pederson, he is a leader. He is a guy that everyone in that locker room respects, loves, and wants to go to war for. But I'll be honest with you, he's not the best X's and O guy. He's not the best at drawing things up. He gets a lot of help from some coordinators, some team members, some players, some other coaches. He does. There's no denying it. I don't think Doug Pederson is the best X's and O's football coach there is out there. But what he is best at is rallying the troops. What he's amazing at is getting his team to believe in him and leading the team to victory out on that field. Let's go to Brett Brown. He is not the best X's and O's, guys. He's just not. He's not the best X's and O's type of coach. But what is he great at? Keeping personalities together. Keeping the locker room. Now, there is a difference between a football culture and a basketball culture, all right? There's a ton of personalities on a NBA roster when there's a starting 5 compared to 52, and when you have a quarterback that's a leader of the crew, when you have a Fletcher Cox type player that's a leader of the defense along with Malcolm Jenkins, it's a little bit different in a football culture. But when you take a look at the grand scheme of things, talking about having the guys want to play for the coach, having the guys love the coach and valuing him as a leader, you get that out of Brett Brown. You really do. I mean, I'm sure that there's going to be haters out there that completely disagree with that, but I see it where the guys love playing for Brett Brown because of the era of today. You know, all the old guys, old school guys, you need to be harder on them. You got to scream at them. Brett Brown's too soft. Welcome to 2019. I mean, really, welcome to 2019. You can't coach that way anymore. These players make millions and millions and millions of dollars more than the head coach. You can't scream at them and then lose them. And if you want to point out Greg Popovich, then sure, count out or point out the one coach that has enough success in this league to be able to be a little bit more harsh than the rest of the coaches. Sure, point out the one outlier. As a whole, the two compare to each other. They really do. Two guys that know how to, in their respected sports, lead teams to battle and keep locker rooms together and keep the culture sane. That's where they have great value. Not the best at X's and O's, but you can learn that part of it. You can learn that side of it. I'm sorry, but Doug Pederson gets help from guys. He does. His coordinators. He does. I mean, didn't we talk about the difference of Frank Reich last year? Not having him compared to having him all season long? Did we not do that all season long? Well, look what Frank Reich and DiFilippo did. Look what they did. They leave and look at this offense. But we still love Doug Pederson. I just don't understand why Brett Brown gets so disrespected on the other side. I just don't understand. Let's move on to Zhaire Smith. I believe Zhaire Smith is going to be something nice. I'm not going to sit here and say he's going to be the Kawhi Leonard. Although people compare him as mini Kawhi Leonard, I don't think he's going to be Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James, Kevin Durant. But what I've seen so far through his adversity, I'm super pumped to see his future. I'm dead serious. The kid went through the foot injury. The kid went through this allergy where he almost died, seriously, he almost died. And he comes back this same season and gets some limited minutes in the NBA. That doesn't happen. His work ethic to get back to where he wanted to be was insane. And I value that. And I see him out there. And I'm not saying he's knocking down threes or he's doing this so perfectly, but he's not afraid to shoot it. He's not afraid to play tough defense. I'm really excited to see how he goes into next season. How about getting some summer league time? The kid wants to play. The kid wants to prove it. The kid wants to go out there and show the Sixers fans what he can really do. He wants to do that. You don't think that there's first-round picks out there that miss a year and say, I was in the league. I'm not playing summer league. I was in the league. You think I'm playing that crap? This kid just wants to compete. Even when he went down to the Delaware Blue Coats, the kid just wanted to play. The kid just wanted to play basketball. He wasn't worried about his ego and what people are going to think about him. I value that. I'm excited for Zhaire Smith's future for next season. Once again, is he going to be cracking the 5? No, but I think he could be a nice piece, a nice player, and hopefully develop into something special. Which goes kind of hand in hand to the draft. And I know we have a first-round pick in the late 20s. There's some names out there. There are some names out there that I'm pumped for. Some guys who are talented, but a little bit older due to the fact of staying in college, so they're not going to go as high. I saw Cameron Johnson as a name from UNC. I see Carson Edwards a name from Purdue, and he lit up the NCAA tournament. Once again, not guys where I'm going to say, well, that guy's going to take over and be the leader of the team. No, but I value them as pieces for this squad. One reason why we were not so successful this year at the end of the season was depth. Depth. As much as you want to say Embiid was sick, not sick, knee injury, as much as you want to say Tobias missed wide open threes, Joel Embiid off the floor compared to being on the floor, that was a depth issue. Rocking with 6-7 guys, having to rely on James Ennis off the bench, that's a depth issue. I think that we can find successful players out of the draft. And we even have some early second-round picks. I see names like Kyle Guy. I see some Virginia players, Ty Jerome. It's going to be interesting, and I really do believe the Sixers organization can find players in the draft. So I'm excited. I really am. I'm excited to see where this branches out to in regards to the draft, in regards to Zhaire Smith. You know me at the time, if you follow me from then to now, Mikal Bridges and the trade that we did, at the time I was disgusted. I was very upset. And that wasn't a knock on Zhaire Smith. That was because I thought Mikal Bridges can really help out. Well, we traded the 2021 and we got Tobias Harris, who at this point I say, okay, I'm cool with it because it brought us Tobias Harris at that time. I was totally acceptable of it. But looking at Zhaire Smith, everything that he's overcome so far, that takes a lot of heart. That takes a lot. He had to dig down deep just to get to where he did for those tiny, tiny limited minutes. Don't sleep on the kid. I value him totally different now, just based off of what he's gone through. I know what he brings to the table skill level-wise, and I've seen him play at Texas Tech, and I know what he brings. Even when the trade happened. It wasn't, I thought Zhaire Smith wasn't good at the time. That wasn't why I was upset with the trade. So let's just keep an eye out for him. Let's just keep an eye out on the draft. And I want to know your thoughts on the Brett Brown and Doug Pederson comparison. Because I'm not saying they're the same coaches, but in their respected sports, I see similarities based off of what they thrive in. And what they thrive in is keeping the unity together. Keeping the family-like atmosphere. Keeping the guys all on the same page and wanting to go out there and compete. And I don't want to hear that, well, did you see them not come out ready to play? What's that mean? Is the coach getting them ready? You can't compare 100-plus NBA games in a season compared to 16. You just can't. So you got to respectfully compare the two in their respected sports. There's always going to be an egg laid in an 82-game season for the Sixers. That doesn't mean they don't value Brett Brown. Just hear what the players had to say about Brett Brown in the exit meetings. There's no doubt a ton of respect, and that's based off of the culture that he brings. I love my Sixers. I really do. I want to continue to talk about them. They're obviously a hot topic. They're obviously going to go through one of the biggest off seasons of their history. So we're going to keep talking about them. We're going to keep checking out how they do throughout this process. We're going to look into the draft more. We're going to look into free agency more, of course, throughout the summer. We're going to keep keeping our eyes glued on summer league, seeing how players perform, and just going to see how Altenbrand does. But once again, I have faith in the guy. I really do. I have faith that this guy can go out there and make an amazing offseason happen. Call me crazy. A lot of people do. Thank you guys for watching. See you next time.